Today on Boring Gear Reviews, we're welcoming back the always brutal Vexed Brain with the repeated death. Thanks so much to Vexed Brain for sending me the repeated death. Alright, so what we have here is a modded rat circuit using the LM308 IC. This is based on the life pedal circuit, so we get a boost on one side, a distortion on the other side, and in the middle we have an octave circuit. For controls, we have boost, which will control the kind of push or level of the boost circuit. Next, we have volume, which control the overall output of the pedal while it's on. Next up, we have tone, and here, counterclockwise will reduce some of the low end and add a little more high end. And then the more clockwise you turn it, you're going to roll off some of that high end, introduce a little more thickness. This is a surprisingly unique tone shaping control. It has a really great way of adding low end without adding muddiness, and then also adding high end without getting weak. Really, really rad. Next, we have gain, which will control the amount of distortion on the right foot switch, which is labeled innocence. And then we have octave, which will blend in a high octave circuit, and that will be toggled on with the center foot switch labeled fear. And lastly, we have a three-way toggle switch to toggle between the clipping options of LED, silicon, and op amp only. For today's demo, I am using my 2020 Jackson JS32 Dinky with Idiotbox Atomic and Meltdown pickups. From there, we'll be going into my Universal Audio Apollo X6 and then into the Softube JMP 2203 amp plugin. Okay, for this first clip, we're going to have boost around 1 o'clock. We're going to max the volume. We'll have tone at noon. We're going to have the gain just past noon, and the octave will be maxed as well. We're going to be in the all the way left position on the toggle switch. At the end of the chain, we're going to have the Meris Mercury7 for a little bit of plate reverb. So for this clip, we're going to start with the boost. And what I found really cool about this boost is it is a very full sound. I think in general, the repeated death comparatively to similar circuits is it can be a little darker, it can be a little fuller, and it's definitely more kind of edgier. The distortion sounds a little more raw and unhinged, which I love. So anyway, we start with the boost, very full sound. Then we're going to engage the innocence and boost together. And here we just get such a rad distortion. It's thick and bitey, and it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't get muddy. It just sounds really kind of in your face, super aggressive. It's a sound that I love. You know what I found with this pedal is that it's very powerful feeling and sounding. The last section of the clip, we're going to engage the octave. I'll do some lead lines. I'll do some lower stuff. I love the way a high analog octave really kind of chews up distortion. It's this perfect marriage of kind of like chaos and ugliness, but also, you know, definition and, harshness and aggressiveness. It's such a great sound. I think what you'll notice is that even though it's very aggressive, it's very focused as well. So enjoy. Okay, in this next clip, we're going for a darker, more doomy sound. So we're gonna max the boost, max the volume. We'll have the tone around 2 o'clock. The gain will be maxed as well. And we're gonna have the octave at 9. We're gonna be in the all the way right position of the toggle switch too. And for this, we're gonna have all 3 foot switches engaged the whole time. So we have the boost, the drive circuit, and the octave all running the whole time. So because we're rolling that tone knob a little bit more forward, we're gonna take off some of that high end, add a little more fullness to the low end, and this gives a little bit more of like a dooming type of sound. What I really love here is because we're maxing the boost, maxing the volume, maxing the gain, we get a little bit of gating, but it's really crumbly, but still really tight. It's such a heavy, heavy, heavy sound. And again, just a ton of bottom end, a lot of power, no woofiness. It's not muddy. It's just a very kind of punchy, in your face, kind of pummeling distortion. At the end of the clip, I'm going to roll the volume back and you'll see how well it cleans up. Even with the octave a little bit blended in, still cleans up beautifully. And you can have a lot of range with this, just with your volume knobs. Enjoy. And lastly, we're going to pair the repeated death and the Mercury7 again. So in this clip, we're going to have the boost at noon, max the volume. We'll have the tone at 9, the gain around 11, and the octave at 2. We're going to have the clipping in the middle position. To start, we're going to have both the octave and the distortion circuit running at the same time, but I'm going to roll the volume back. One of my favorite things about distortion and like analog octave circuits is if you roll the volume back, you get like almost like a ring modulated type of sound, where it's like a little glitchy, a little broken, a little aliased. It's just such a cool sound that's unlike anything else. With the repeated death, I fell in love with this sound because there's almost like a hollow metallic nature to it. I loved it. It was super, super cool and interesting to play. When I roll the volume, a bunch of gain, super, super cool sound. Like I said, focused, powerful, punchy, pummeling, all like the crushing, cool adjectives you want to hear about distortion. And lastly, I'll turn off the octave and engage the boost and the distortion together. And it's still, like I said, it's just full, aggressive. It's kind of odd how, not odd, it's cool, how aggressive this pedal is, but still very clear. You get a ton of distortion, but you don't sacrifice clarity or definition. There's kind of a bigness and openness to the sound that I really dug. And that'll do it for the repeated death from Vexed Brain. He is making some rad stuff out there in Nebraska. If you saw my demo of the Murder 4, you'll know what I'm talking about. Sick enclosures, amazing sounds, incredible prices. It's just Vexed Brain is doing some really, really cool stuff. And it's a company you should really be paying attention to, especially if you like heavier, more aggressive pedals. But not just that, he does custom orders too, and he can kind of mad scientist his way through whatever you're looking for. So if that interests you, click the link in the description, check out more there. I've played a bunch of these types of circuits, and while they all bring something to the table, I'll say that the repeated death might be one of the more aggressive ones that I've played. And I love that. It's super edgy. It has like a rawness to it that I really love. If you love it too, like I said, links in the description. Check all that stuff out. If you dig the content, consider hitting subscribe, like, share, comment. That stuff helps me out, and I appreciate it. And until next time, peace.